How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today, what we're going to be talking about is Triple Q, SPY, and TBLT. I want to make sure you guys are prepared for this coming week. I want to make sure that you guys know the levels that you need to look out for so you can come up with the right strategy and the game plan to win. As far as for TBLT, inside of the private Discord, we've been on this play ever since the end of June. And now many people are sending me messages saying, Dre, do you see TBLT being able to get the $10 for the coming week? So I'll be covering that inside of this video. And if you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. I want to make sure I make it easier for anyone that comes to my channel being able to navigate the things that you want to watch. I won't waste any more time. Let's get into those videos right now. So we're going to take a look at the chart for SPY. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at 395.09, being down 0.93%. On the low, it tested 392.75, and then on the high, testing 418 cents. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 72.197 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 72.423 million shares. So you can see we had about the average in regards to volume, and we also seen a pullback on the day. So when we take a look at our chart, we're using the daily chart. I want you guys to pay attention to some key levels here. So we did have a sell-off on the Friday. That has already been confirmed. But if we decide to sell off some more going into Monday, I would love for us to bounce off this 9 EMA, which is right here at 390. If we could hold support above 390 or right around 390, that's where I want to see us making that move, getting back above the 50-day, and then seeing if we can make a move to 396. If SPY can do this, things do look good, especially if it can close at that level for Monday. We have earnings coming from Microsoft and as well as Meta, so if that ends up being good, I think we should be able to retest back to this $400 level and also fill in this gap here right at 401.36. Even though we did get to 418, we were unable to fill that gap to the upside, so I want to see that coming very soon. If we decide to have a pullback or we have some major selling for this week, I would start being very bearish if we fall below 390 and if we decide to fall through to 21 EMA, which is right here around 387.69. We also have a gap that needs to be filled, which is right here around 378.74. So that's one thing you want to keep a very close eye on. And if you're wondering what I have highlighted here, this is a demand zone that I have noticed. We could see that we have bounced off this particular range, and I'm talking about between 371 and as well as 373 multiple times. You can see it here on June the 14th, and as well you can see it on the 13th. We also did this on the 15th. We did it again on the 21st. You can see right here around the 22nd, bounced off again on the 23rd. And then when we move forward, you can see we bounced off on the 30th. We bounced off here on the 1st as well as for the 5th. And then you can see with this recent rally we've been experiencing from July the 14th, we made that strong move up. This is why it's a strong area of significance. So the most bullish case scenario, if we end up filling in that gap to the upside, we use $400 as support and then see we can make a further move getting to around 415. So we're going to take a look at the chart for Triple Q. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at 301.99, being down 1.75%. On the low, it tested 300, and then on the high, testing 308.55. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 57.128 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 60.719 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, and we also seen a pullback. So when we move on to the chart, which is the daily chart, here are some levels I want to bring to your attention. So you can see from this candle here, same thing that we saw on the SPY, we had a strong sell-off on the Friday. But I want to see support coming in right at the 50 EMA, which is right here around 298.08. So if we decide to pull back, I'm looking for a bounce off of this level. If we break through this level, then of course I want to see the 9 EMA coming in to see if it can stand up as support, which is at 297.16. If we break through this level, I can see us coming down to the 21 EMA and we could sell off further. Again, that would be the bearish case scenario with the volatility that could be coming for this week. It is possible to get there. But as far as for a move to the upside, like I said, you want to see that bounce and then you want to see how well it could do if it can get to 310. This is a key level for Triple Q to get to, and I could see it getting there if we see some strong corporate earnings, especially from Apple Amazon, Microsoft, and as well as for Meta. We could get to 310, and I could see QQQ making that move to 315. If it can get to 315, that's where I say, you know what, things are definitely looking good, and we could see a further move to the upside. And another point that I want to bring to your attention, if you're curious, you can see that I've highlighted between the areas of 278 and as well as for 280. And the main reason behind that is this is the demand zone. This is where we've seen QQQ bounce off of this area. And what does this mean? So we could see here back on the 22nd, we were able to break out, and then you could see on the 23rd, this is where we bounced up. Then we came back selling down into this area, had some consolidation, then we bounced back up. And then we came down recently here on July the 13th and as well as the 14th, and this is where we had this recent rally. So this area is a strong area of significance, the same thing that I was saying for the levels on the SPY. So we're going to take a look at the chart for TBLT. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at $7.98, being up 39.51%. On the low, it tested $5.86, and then on the high, testing $9.35. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 139.236 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 36.667 million shares. So we had well above the average in regards to volume, and you could see we had some clear strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, here's what I want to bring to your attention. As far as for the technicals, we are looking very strong. We are seeing a continuation of higher lows and as well as higher highs. And we want to see a continuation of this going into next week. We ended up seeing resistance at 935. So if we could break above this level, of course, we want to see TBLT getting above $10. What could happen if we get above $10? Then that's where we want to see if we can get to the level right here around 1380. And if it could break above 1380, that's where we get the move going to $16. We need to have an increase in buying volume to actually get there. So far, we've been doing that fairly consistently. And if we can break through 16, then you want to keep an eye on this $20 level. If we look back here on the 25th of April, that's where we had some strong selling that occurred. But we also have a gap that needs to be filled to the upside right here around 25 bucks. So I'd highly suggest you add this to your homework as well, because if TBLT gets up there, that is definitely some good gains to have. But always remember, you want to be taking some profits along the way. These stocks are volatile, but so far for what I'm seeing from the chart, I feel like this bullish trend can continue. If it decides to have a pullback now, then I'd want to see support coming in right at 6 bucks. If we want to consolidate, hold around $6, then I'm pretty sure we would get another move up in my personal opinion. But again, the volume has to be there. I'm only saying the worst case scenario here. But as far as the overall momentum, I want to see a continuation. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for TBLT Industries. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings here, we have a bunch of closed positions for the 19th, the 14th, the 13th, and as well as for the 7th, and as well as for the 17th. But you could see here we have Jane Street Group LLC that purchased 61,095 shares, and we also see Two Sigma Securities LLC that purchased 111,283 shares. But keep in mind, taking a look at this date, this was back in May. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 51.53%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 48.82 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 250,000, updated 20 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 248.89%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we could see for the close of the 21st, it was at 54.96, and then for the close of the 22nd, it was at 51.53. So that is a significant decrease right there. But when we take a look at that short interest percentage of the float being at 132.08%, TBLT does continue to have short squeeze potential. So to give you guys my final recap for TBLT, QQQ, and SPY, let's start off with TBLT. So it fulfills all the criteria of what I look for strong plays that can have continued momentum, especially for penny stocks. So if it does does decide to have a pullback, like I was saying, you want to see strength above that $6 level. If it comes down to 6.20, I think that's perfectly fine. I could still see it making a move back up. $10 is that key area to watch. If it can break through $10, that's where you have to look out for those next levels that I pointed out on the chart. But the main thing that you want to keep an eye on is an increase in volume. As far as everything else, it will take care of itself. We have high short borrow fees, and as far as for the short percentage of the float, it is just out of this world. Again, if you missed that, please check out the sections inside of this video. So good luck to all my traders out there, and just make sure that the money that you're going to be putting into the play, you're not afraid to lose it. You want to make sure you're not trading with a lot of emotions. You want to make the right decisions and be able to follow through with your strategy. As far as for QQQ and SPY, I pointed out the demand zone, the key levels where I've seen strong support. And since we did have quite the run up as of late, there are some things that you need to look out for in regards to factors outside of the chart. And what do I mean by this? We have Microsoft and as well as Meta that's coming out with earnings on Tuesday. And then of course we have Apple and as well as Amazon. Depending on how these results turn out will pretty much steer the direction of where these ETFs are going to go. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your ears to the street. We also do have a Fed meeting, and we have GDP numbers that are going to be coming out. So there's going to be a lot of volatility, but if you pay attention to those levels that I talked about, you should be just fine. And if you want to trade these tickers inside of the private Discord with us, then check out the link inside the description. We'll be happy to have you a part of the family. Like I said, as far as TBLT, we've been knowing about this play for a very long time, but I just wanted to make sure I put this video out because I know I get a lot of questions on YouTube. So let's see what happens going into the coming week, and good luck with your trading.